Hello and welcome back to the West Hempfield Forward Local Politics Show. My name is Nick Dennis and I am your 2025 candidate for Township Supervisor. And I wanted to give you an overview of what we talked about in the June Supervisors meeting. I attended as I try to do every month, and you're more than welcome to join me anytime you'd like. They are the first Tuesday of the month down at the Township building on Marietta Avenue. So, they started the meeting by giving a special thank you to Lancaster County Bible Church for their Impact PA Volunteer Day back on May 17th. They were able to put in some walking trails around Fairview Park and also complimented the Township road crew for prepping the site so well for those volunteers. Then we moved into the Township Manager's Report. Andrew Stern, the manager, said that electric rates for the municipality will be increasing 20% through 2026, even though they had already negotiated great rates that they thought were locked in through 2030. They also mentioned that Hempfield Rec is working on an updated agreement between West Hempfield, East Hempfield, and the school district. And they mentioned that West Hempfield is the largest contributor per capita to Hempfield Rec. And so we get a few extra things from Hempfield Rec for doing that. Didn't get any more specifics than that. He also mentioned that Chiques Dam deconstruction project has been delayed until they can come up with a plan to what to do for all the sediment that will be dumped into the river when the dam is demolished. And he also mentioned that the township is fully staffed. Then we moved on into the treasurer's report. They talked that local services taxes were up 6.3% compared to last year, but they said that might just be a timing thing and not a new revenue stream thing. So nothing to get excited about there. Then the police chief mentioned that new officers will be sworn in the July meeting. Zoning and land use gave an update. Dwayne said that verification for conservation plans around the township are coming up soon, and they sent out 25 letters around that. Then the fire department gave an update about the Mountville Carnival. They said it rained and it wasn't a great turnout, but not much you can do about the weather. Then there was time for public comment, and someone named Mark talked about how the board and the township doesn't have a mechanism for enforcing their ordinances. He said that there is an ordinance for the height of plants and grass, and his neighbor has not really been taking care of those things, and he has complained to the township many times, but they don't seem to do anything about it. I noticed that some of the supervisors looked very frustrated by this. Ed was on his phone for most of the time. Rob was looking down and didn't really respond at all. Mentioned that he tried to reach out, this Mark person tried to reach out to anybody he could get a hold of, the manager and all of the public-facing contact information for the supervisors on the board. To this, Kent responded that he does not use the email address that's on the website. And David said that he had never received anything in his personal email. So there was a lot of back and forth, and eventually they decided they would try to follow up. Ed had made a reference to the fact that some Supreme Court, PA Supreme Court ruling said that townships had no right to enforce their ordinances, and any grievances would have to go through the district magistrate for due process. So something to look into there. Then they moved into some approvals for some stormwater management plans for various sites. And then we also got some information from the Lancaster Farmland Trust, which was interesting, and I'd like to share it with you. So there was a talk of this area right in here, the Conley Farm off of Prospect Road, and South Garfield Road here, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Yeah, there you go. This plot of land right here is a farm that is interested in conserving their land so that it doesn't get developed. And so the township have something called transferable development rights, or TDRs. So the way that these work is it's a zoning technique that conserves land by redirecting development that would have occurred on that land to a receiving area that's suitable for denser development. And that technique operates so that the owners of the place that wants to be conserved can be compensated for conserving that land and directed somewhere where they can get denser development. So our current zoning does have these TDR plans, but they were saying at the meeting that they're not really being used, and there's $900,000 sitting waiting for some developer to take advantage of this TDR plan. So instead, they were interested in partnering with the Lancaster Farmland Trust to try and entice farmers to conserve their farmland, because we think that's important. So the way that Lancaster Farmland Trust does this is a landowner, a farmer, contacts and says, hey, I'm interested in preserving my farm. And then they come out, Lancaster Farmland Trust looks at the place and decides the rate that they're going to pay for a conservation easement to reimburse the farmer for preserving their land. And then that easement is kept under the Lancaster Farmland Trust forever. And they do periodic check-ins on whether or not any development has been happening in that on that preserved land. And so the farmer gets some money, and then the land is saved. So the way that it works is they base the amount they pay on the quality of soil of the farm. So the Lancaster Farmland Trust was saying that typically the highest quality farmland can get $2,000 per acre, which is less than what would happen if they went through the county's farmland preservation program. But Lancaster Farmland Trust is a nonprofit, and so some people like to work with nonprofits rather than with the county. It just sort of depends. So to try and make up the difference and give the farmer a bit more money for their land, Farmland Trust was requesting that the township dip into some of that $900,000 in transferable development rights, and give $50,000 to the Conley Farm to help boost the money that they make and encourage them to conserve this land. So that was approved by the board, 4-0 unanimous decision. And because of that, it would also give the township partial ownership of the easement in the rare case that maybe Lancaster Farmland Trust folds, since it is a nonprofit entity. Then the township could take up the checking on the easement and making sure that it's not being developed on. So that was an interesting thing that came out of the meeting here. And then also we talked about this a few months ago. They are developing the farm over here by Forry's off of Stony Battery Road. It's currently like a sod farm, I think. And there is a plan to have a walking trail go through a marshland that they're protecting. And Forry's Country Store requested that walking trail be extended 100 feet to be able to access their store. So there was a request to approve that as well. So lots of interesting things happening around the township here over the summer. If you are ever interested in coming out to a meeting, like I said, I go every month. You're welcome to join me, or you can email us at westhempfieldforward@gmail.com if you have any questions or concerns that you'd like us to bring up in the meeting on your behalf. We can always do that too. Thanks so much for listening. I hope these are helpful. Like and comment and share if you want, and we'll talk to each other real soon.